Tom was not the kind of person who caused trouble. He liked quiet places, fixed broken machines, and stayed away from important people. On the Galactic Unity base, there were many species from different planets, and Tom, just a human engineer, was one of the few people who still liked to drink plain water and watch stars in silence every day. Tom walked from his small sleeping pod to the repair bay. He worked on machines, checked power lines, and made sure the gravity system stayed stable. He didn't care much about aliens or politics, but everything changed the day he saw Princess Lyra. She was not like the others. The Scifi were tall and thin, with smooth skin that glowed slightly in certain lights. Their eyes were bright, and their voices soft like music. But Lyra was something more. She didn't wear heavy robes like the others. Her clothes were light, her hair tied back simply, and her expression full of curiosity. Tom first saw her standing alone in the garden dome, a large space filled with green trees, small waterfalls, and quiet walking paths. He was sent there to fix a water pipe. When he looked up from the pipe, she was just there, standing among the blue-leaf trees. Looking at a butterfly drone, he quickly looked down and tried not to stare. But then she walked closer. "Are you the one who repaired the energy bridge last week?" she asked. Tom was surprised. She spoke clearly, in a gentle voice, and used his language perfectly. "Yes," he replied quietly, "that was me." She smiled. "Thank you. My room is near that section. I notice the light feels better now." Tom didn't know what to say. No one important ever talked to him like that. Before he could reply again, a guard appeared. The Scifi soldier stepped forward quickly. "Princess," the guard said, "you should not speak to workers from outside the council zone." She looked at the guard, then back at Tom. "I'm sorry," she said to him. "I must go." She turned and walked away, the guard following her. Tom stood still, holding his tool bag, heart beating strangely fast. That night, Tom sat in his small room and looked out the round window. The stars were quiet and distant. He tried to forget about the encounter. It meant nothing. He told himself she was a princess. He was just a repair worker. But the next day, he was called to the command office inside. The station's base commander, a serious-looking woman named Mira, sat at her desk. The Scifi official stood beside her. "Tom," Mira said, "we've received a request. It's important that you stay away from the Scifi Royal Zone. That includes the Garden Dome when the princess is present." Tom blinked. "Did I do something wrong?" "No," Mira said, "but the Scifi have rules. Their royalty doesn't speak with non-council members. This is for your safety as well as theirs." Tom nodded slowly. Understood. He left the office with a heavy feeling in his chest. 3 days passed. He avoided the garden. He avoided looking toward the royal decks. But on the 4th day, something strange happened. He was repairing a damaged control panel near the lower service tunnels when he heard soft footsteps. When he turned, Princess Lyra was standing there, holding a small wrapped box. "I brought this," she said. "It's a Scifi fruit cake. It's a thank you gift." Tom looked around, nervous. "You shouldn't be here." "I know," she said, "but I wanted to say thank you properly." He hesitated, then took the gift with both hands. "Thank you." She sat on a low wall near him. "You like fixing things." "Yes," he said simply. "Machines make sense. They follow rules." She smiled. "I like that." For a few minutes, they talked. She asked about Earth, what oceans looked like, what birds sounded like, and what music humans played. Tom answered with short, honest words. She told him about the Scifi sky domes, how their people dream together during special nights, and how they fly through wind tunnels using soft wing suits. Then she looked at him seriously. "Do you think it's wrong for people like us to speak?" Tom didn't know how to answer. "I think it's not dangerous to talk." She nodded. "I think so too." Suddenly, an alert rang from her bracelet. She stood quickly. "I must go. They'll look for me." She walked away without another word. Tom stood there, holding the small cake, wondering what he had just started. Later that night, he returned to his room. He opened the gift and found a small card inside. It read, You're the only human I've spoken to. I like that. Tom didn't sleep much that night. In the following days, he noticed quiet changes. His repair assignments moved closer to the royal decks. He found hidden messages in the machines he worked on, small notes folded behind loose screws or tucked into air vents. Each one came from Lyra. Did you know the Garden Dome has a secret tunnel? Today I dreamed about Earth's oceans. Can we meet in the engine room at shift end? Tom didn't reply with words. He left his own messages, written on circuit boards or left behind in empty toolboxes, and so their secret friendship began, built not with big words or romantic feelings, but with shared thoughts, quiet understanding, and the gentle joy of being seen. But not everyone on the station was blind. Someone had noticed, and trouble was getting closer. Tom waited in the engine room after his shift ended. The room was large and full of humming machines, glowing pipes, and blinking lights. The sound of energy moving through the ship's heart made it a perfect place to hide a quiet conversation. At exactly the right time, a small door opened near the back wall. Princess Lyra stepped in, wearing a gray maintenance coat over her dress. Her glowing bracelet was hidden under the sleeve. You came, she said softly. Tom nodded. You said the machines block sound sensors. You were right, she smiled, and sat on a low bench beside one of the warm power tubes. Everyone always watches me, Lyra said. But here, it feels like I can be normal, like I can breathe. Tom leaned against the wall. Why me? He asked. Lyra tilted her head. Because you listen. You don't ask for anything. You just talk like I'm not special. Tom didn't know what to say to that, so he stayed quiet. They sat like that for a while, speaking softly between the hum of the engines. I read more about Earth. Lyra said, your planet has something called rain. Water that falls from the sky. Tom smiled a little. Yes, sometimes light, sometimes heavy. Some people dance in it. Lyra looked amazed. We don't have that on Scifi. Our skies are controlled. Nothing falls from above. That sounds beautiful. Tom looked at her and said, it is. Days turned into weeks. Tom and Lyra met often in secret. They avoided cameras, used service doors, and left each other signs, a scratch mark on a pipe, a gear turned upside down, a red ribbon tied to a wire. They learned about each other slowly. Lyra told him she had 3 older brothers, all trained as warriors. She was the youngest, the dreamer, the quiet one. Her people expected her to marry a prince from another royal house. She didn't want that life. I want to make something new, she said one evening. I want to understand others, maybe even lead something better. Tom shared small memories of Earth, his grandmother's old radio, his first walk through a forest, the smell of books in an old library. Lyra listened with full attention, as if each word was a treasure. You humans feel things so deeply. She said once, you carry your planet with you, even when it's far away. Tom shrugged. It's the only home we've ever known. But outside their secret talks, tension was growing. One morning, while Tom was repairing a faulty air vent, someone tapped his shoulder. It was Commander Mira. Walk with me, she said firmly. Tom followed her down the hallway. I've received word, Mira said, not looking at him, that someone has seen you near the princess more than once. There are rules, Tom. You know them. Tom stayed quiet. I understand she may have spoken to you. I also understand you didn't start it, but this has to stop. I understand, Tom replied. Mira stopped walking and faced him. You're a good worker. Don't throw everything away. Tom nodded, but inside, he felt something strange, a feeling he didn't know how to explain. Not anger, not fear, just a quiet knowing that something important was growing, and it was being pulled away from him. That night, he found a message scratched under his workbench. Be careful. Someone is watching. He knew it was Lyra's writing. Their next meeting was different. They didn't talk much. They just sat side by side, hidden between 2 large power cores, listening to the soft hum of the bass. Lyra finally broke the silence. They want to send me back, she said, to the Scifi homeworld. They say I've forgotten who I am. Tom looked at her, unsure what to say. I don't want to leave, she continued. Not yet, Not before I figure out why this all matters. Why what matters? Tom asked. She turned to him. You, Earth, the feeling I get when I speak to you. I think there's a bigger reason for us meeting. Tom felt the same, but he couldn't say it. He just nodded. I don't have many days left, she said. We have to be smart. The next morning, Tom found a change in his daily routine. He was no longer assigned near the royal decks. His clearance code for certain tunnels was blocked. Even his sleeping pod was moved to another part of the base. He tried to stay calm, but he knew what this meant. They were separating him from Lyra, and he couldn't even say goodbye. Late at night, he stood by the window of the station, looking out at the stars. The planets looked small and far away. Everything felt distant. Then, something caught his eye. On the outer glass of the viewing dome, someone had left a small silver star sticker. It was the Scifi symbol for hope. Tom stepped closer. There were tiny words under it, written in curved Scifi letters. He pulled out his translator. It read, "Don't leave. Wait, I have a plan." Tom stared at the message for a long time. He didn't know what was coming next, but he knew one thing. For sure, he wasn't alone. Tom stood in front of the window for a long time. The silver star sticker on the glass was small, but it meant more than any order or warning. He traced the Scifi symbol gently with his finger. "Don't leave. Wait, I have a plan." Lyra's message gave him hope. He wasn't sure what kind of plan she had, but if she was ready to do something, then so was he. Still, Tom had to be careful. The base was now watching him closely. His new quarters were in a low-traffic zone, far from the royal decks, and cameras had been added near the service tunnels he once used. He had been silenced without being punished, moved out of the way. Quietly, it was a message: stay in your place, and don't try anything foolish. But Tom wasn't planning anything foolish. He was planning to wait and listen. The next day, while repairing a ventilation shaft near the cargo bay, he found something odd. A tiny folded piece of blue metal, stuck between two wire lines. It was shaped like a leaf. Tom took it back to his room and opened it carefully. Inside was a micro-note screen. The message appeared in glowing letters: emergency signal at Dock 17, midnight. Don't bring anything. Just come. Tom's heart skipped a beat. Dock 17 was one of the oldest docking areas on the base. It hadn't been used in months, but it was still powered and kept ready for emergencies. He checked the base map. Dock 17 could only be reached through two paths, one of them guarded, the other through the lower tunnels he used to clean. He smiled. Those tunnels hadn't changed. That night, he waited until the hallway lights dimmed to night mode. Then he quietly slipped out of his room, carrying only a small tool in his pocket and a light jacket. No bag. No comm device, just like the message said. The tunnels below the base were dark and quiet. He walked quickly but carefully, stepping over pipes and ducking under hanging wires. When he reached Dock 17, he saw a soft light glowing near the far wall. A small ship, sleek and silver, stood ready, its engine cold but its doors open. Standing beside it was Princess Lyra, dressed in a simple black pilot suit, her hair tied back, her eyes bright with energy. "You came," she said. "I trusted your message," Tom replied. Lyra looked around. "We don't have much time. They're planning to send me back tomorrow. They said my actions have made things unstable." She took a deep breath. "I don't want to go back. Not like this. Not before I understand what's happening between our people. Between us." Tom nodded slowly. "What do we do?" Lyra stepped forward. Her hand reached out and grabbed his. "We run." The ship was small but well-designed. Lyra had stolen it from a hidden storage area, one meant for emergency diplomatic travel. It was quiet, fast, and had built-in cloaking features. As they entered the ship, the door sealed behind them with a soft hiss. "I loaded enough fuel to take us into the deep zone," Lyra said, sitting at the control panel. "There's a region called the Veil Rift. It's not in regular travel paths. Nobody looks for ships there." Tom took the co-pilot seat. "How did you plan all this?" Lyra smiled faintly. "I've been watching the system for weeks. You taught me how to look at machines, remember?" He did. Their talks had taught her more than just stories. They taught her how to see patterns, risks, and chances. Now, she was using that knowledge to escape her golden prison. They activated the ship's launch system, but the docking bay began to blink red. Warning, unauthorized launch detected. Tom's eyes widened. They're locking down the bay. Not yet, Lyra said, typing quickly. There's a secondary launch chute used for trash drones. We can slip through it. Tom looked at the screen. But the angle, I can fly it, she said, gripping the controls. The floor under them shifted as the ship moved toward the launch chute. Alarms blared through the station. Tom watched the camera feed. Security teams were approaching fast. Come on, come on, Lyra whispered. Then the chute door opened, and the ship dropped for a moment. Everything was spinning. Lights flashed, pressure changed, and stars filled the window, and then silence. They were in open space. Back in the base, Commander Mira stood in the control room, watching the blinking dot of the escaping ship. She left with him, one of the officers said. Mira didn't reply. She looked at the screen, then at the Sci-Fi ambassador, who stood with arms crossed. This is an insult, the ambassador said. Your people allowed this to happen. Mira frowned. Or maybe your rules pushed her away. The ambassador turned and walked out. Mira whispered, good luck, Tom, out in space. Tom and Lyra checked the systems. The ship had no damage, and the cloaking field worked perfectly. They were free. For now, they sat quietly, drifting among the stars. Did we do the right thing? Tom asked. Lyra looked out at the stars. I don't know, but I know I couldn't stay silent. I had to do something. Tom nodded. Then we did the right thing. Lyra looked at him. I don't want to run forever. I want to find a way to make them understand. Tom smiled. Then let's find it together. The stars stretched out before them, full of danger, mystery, and hope. They had no map, no permission, no guarantees. But they had each other, and that was enough to begin. The small ship drifted quietly through deep space. Stars twinkled round them like tiny lamps in a never-ending night. Inside, Tom and Lyra sat together, watching the navigation screen as they moved toward a hidden part of space called the Veil Rift. The ship was silent except for the soft hum of power and the gentle clicks of buttons. Lyra piloted with steady hands, while Tom watched the sensors carefully. They didn't speak much. Their minds were full of thoughts, hopes, and the quiet fear of what might happen next. Almost there, Lyra whispered. Tom nodded. The Veil Rift, are you sure it's safe? No one patrols it, she replied. It's full of strange energy fields, so most ships stay away. But it's perfect for hiding. As the ship entered the edge of the rift, the stars began to look different. Some flickered oddly, and small glowing clouds floated past the window. The sensors picked up no signs of danger, but they also didn't understand what they were seeing. It's like flying through a dream, Lyra said softly. Tom agreed. The space around them felt unreal, like a painting that moved slowly with soft colors and quiet lights. They stopped the ship near a large, empty satellite. It was old, probably from a forgotten age, but still held together. It floated like a quiet ghost. This is where we wait, Lyra said. For what? Tom asked. She turned to him. For someone who will listen. That night, inside the small cabin, Lyra told Tom the full story. There's a group within the Sci-Fi Council, she said. They believe that humans are too unpredictable, too emotional. They think you're a risk. Tom stayed quiet. But there are others, she continued. Some believe that humans bring something special, that your passion, your creativity, or wild ideas could help our people grow. Tom looked at her. And you? I believe you give us a chance to change. She stood and walked to the window. My mother, the Empress, wants peace with Earth. But she also wants control. And I want understanding. I want something new. Tom stepped beside her. Then why run? Lyra looked into his eyes. Because talking wasn't enough. They wouldn't let me choose my path. I had to show them that I can make my own decision. Tom nodded slowly. You made a brave choice. She smiled gently. I didn't make it alone. The next day, Tom sent out a secret signal using an old Earth code. He used the satellite nearby to bounce the message across the galaxy. He didn't include names. Just a short message. We are safe. We wish to talk. Peace begins with listening. He didn't know who would hear it or if anyone would respond, but it was the only thing he could do. Hours passed, then a full day. On the second day, the ship's alert light blinked. Lyra checked the screen. A signal. She said, encrypted, Old Earth diplomatic frequency. Tom moved closer. Can we open it? Lyra pressed a few buttons, and a voice came through quiet, but clear. This is Diplomat Hanlon, Earth Peace Council. We received your signal. Please respond. Tom's heart raced. He answered quickly. This is Tom, from Galactic Unity Base. I'm here with Princess Lyra of the Scifi. We left the station because we were not allowed to speak freely. We want to open communication without fear, without control. There was silence for a moment. Then the voice replied, We understand. Hold position. We are sending a neutral envoy, ETA. Today's. Tom and Lyra looked at each other. Someone's listening, he said. Lyra smiled. Then maybe we started something. But peace never comes easily. Back on the Unity base, the Scifi were not happy. Their ambassador demanded action. He said Lyra had been kidnapped, that she was confused by humans and needed to be brought home. Commander Mira refused to send attack ships. She ran, she told them, and the human didn't force her. You're trying to silence her voice, not rescue her. But the Scifi sent a message back to their fleet. And now a ship was coming, a large one. 2 days later, as Tom and Lyra waited for Earth's envoy, they saw something on the radar. The ship's one was small and round, marked with Earth's Peace Council flag. The other was large, sharp, and glowing blue. It belonged to the Scifi Royal Fleet. They found us, Lyra said. Will they listen? Tom asked. Lyra shook her head. I'm not sure. The Earth envoy docked first. A calm woman stepped out, wearing a white uniform. Her name was Hanlon, and her voice was kind but serious. We want peace, she said. But this must be handled carefully. Lyra stepped forward. I ran away because I wasn't allowed to choose. All I ask is a voice, a chance to speak freely. Hannah nodded. And the Scifi ship, it won't wait. Lyra warned soon. The second ship arrived. Its commander appeared on a screen. His face was cold. Princess Lyra, you must return. Now, you have broken your duty. I follow my heart, she replied. You have no right to speak for our people. I'm not speaking for them, she said. I'm speaking for myself. The commander frowned. If you do not return, we will take you by force. Tom stepped forward. Listen, he said. We don't want to fight. We just want a future where both sides can talk. Isn't that worth trying? There was a long silence. Then, the Scifi ship shut off its weapons. A message came through. We will report this to the Empress. Until then, we will not fire. But the princess remains your responsibility. Then the screen went dark. Lyra let out a deep breath. We have time, she said. Not much, Tom replied, but enough to build something. Together, with Hannah's help, they began working on a new plan, a place where humans and Scifi could meet without fear. A space not owned by one side, but shared by both. And it all started because one princess decided to run, and one human chose to follow. The small peace team floated silently at the edge of the Veil Rift, one Earth ship, one Scifi warship, and in between them Lyra and Tom's tiny escape craft. Inside, the mood was tense. Tom sat beside Lyra at the ship's controls. The glow of nearby energy clouds flickered through the windows. Earth's diplomat, Hanlon, spoke softly over the comms, trying to keep the Scifi ship calm. They agreed not to fire. Tom said, but for how long? Lyra stared ahead, her face serious. My people follow rules, but they also follow pride. If the wrong voice gives an order, everything could fall apart. Tom nodded. Then we can't wait here forever. Lyra turned to him. There's a hidden path through the rift. A place Scifi ships can't enter easily. Too much power in their engines. But a small ship like ours, we can pass through. Tom looked surprised. You know the way. She smiled slightly. I read it in an old flight journal. A Sarai explorer went through it once. They call it the Star Tunnel. Tom leaned closer. Will the envoy follow? She'll try, Lyra replied. But she'll need time. We need to lead the way. They powered up the ship and sent a short message to Hannah. We're moving through the rift. Meet us at the safe point. Follow our trail. Then Lyra tapped the controls, and the ship moved forward into the glowing mist of the Star Tunnel. The rift was strange and beautiful. The deeper they went, the less it looked like space and more like an ocean of stars. Giant crystal clouds floated. In the distance, some glowed blue, others pink or golden. Strange shapes passed slowly. Old ships, broken machines, even space creatures no one had studied before. Feels like a dream. Tom whispered. Lyra smiled. This is the edge of what both our people know. Beyond here, no maps. For a while, everything was calm. But calm never lasts long. An alarm beeped. Tom checked the screen. A ship. Following us. Lyra narrowed her eyes. Not the Earth. Envoy. Tom shook his head. Too fast. It's Sarai. She looked at the radar. It's a scout-class fighter. Small enough to enter the tunnel, but strong enough to stop us. Tom's voice lowered. Do we run? Lyra didn't answer. She pressed the speed controls. The ship jumped forward. The chase began. Inside the glowing star tunnel, their ship twisted between crystal clouds and narrow paths. Lyra guided the craft with calm hands, avoiding energy surges and rock fields. Behind them, the Sarai scout ship followed closely. They're trying to block our way, Tom said, watching the radar. But they're too big for some of these turns. Exactly, Lyra said. We just have to go where they can't. The ship dove into a narrow space between two drifting ice clouds. Electric sparks danced across the windows. Tom held onto the seat tightly. Are we safe now? Lyra didn't answer. Another alarm rang. The enemy ship was still following, but slower now. They'll try to trap us, she said. But we're almost to the exit point. If we reach it first, we can send a signal back to Earth. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed through the ship. The lights flickered. Tom checked the system. One of the wings hit a sharp crystal. Hull is fine, but the steering arm is damaged. Can you fix it? Lyra asked quickly. He nodded. If I get under the panel. Lyra kept flying as Tom crawled under the control board, sparks falling around him. He worked fast, connecting wires, tightening bolts, and adjusting the balance chip. Almost, he muttered. The ship shook again. Lyra shouted, We're losing space. They're pushing forward. Tom snapped the last wire into place. Try now. Lyra turned the controls hard and the ship spun left, ducking under a floating metal ring. The Sarai scout tried to follow, but clipped the side of the ring. It spun wildly. Smoke coming from one side. They're slowing down, Tom said. We did it, Lyra whispered. Almost there. They reached the edge of the rift-to-calm, placed with floating rocks and a clear signal path. Lyra sent a message to Earth's envoy. We've reached the meeting point. Safe, for now. Minutes later, Hannelin's ship appeared from the mist, floating gently toward them. She hailed them. We followed your trail. You flew well. Tom smiled. Thanks to her. Hannah's voice turned serious. The Sarai scout is damaged. They'd send a message back to their fleet. Lyra sat up straighter. Then we don't have time. We need to send our request now. Together, the three of them sent a joint message from Lyra, from Tom, and from Earth's peace envoy. It was sent across the stars, to both Earth and the Sarai homeworld. The message was clear. We request a neutral space, a place where no one owns the sky, a station where humans and Sarai and others can speak freely. No guards, no threats, just voices and minds working together. Tom added one line at the end. We didn't run to escape. We ran to begin. Now, all they could do was wait. Lyra looked at Tom and took a deep breath. I don't know what my mother will say, or the council, but I had to try. Tom nodded. Trying is how things change. Outside the window, stars drifted slowly. The veil rift calmed behind them, and far away, both Earth and Sarai leaders received the message. It had already begun. The veil rift was calm again. Tom, Lyra, and Earth Diplomat Hannah Lynn floated in a quiet part of space, far from the noise of warships and royal commands round them. Ancient satellites drifted like forgotten memories. Some were broken, some still blinked with dim lights, and one even carried Earth's old symbol, a blue globe surrounded by olive branches. Inside their small ship, the air was quiet but filled with purpose. Tom stood near the window, watching. A strange, jellyfish-like creature float past. It pulsed with soft green light. "I've never seen anything like this," he said. Lyra joined him. "This place was always a myth to my people, a space that doesn't belong to any world. No maps, no rules, just silence and time." Hannah Lynn spoke from the back, "And maybe that's why this is the right place to begin." They had sent the message offering peace, offering a new idea. Now, they waited for answers. One day passed, then another. Lyra sat with her head resting against the cabin wall, deep in thought. "What if they ignore us?" she asked softly. Tom looked up from a toolkit he had been organizing. "Then we try again." Hannah nodded. "Peace takes time. You planted the seed. Even if it doesn't grow today, it might grow tomorrow." Just then, the ship's alert light blinked. "A message," Lyra said quickly. She pressed a button, and a small screen lit up. It was a short transmission coded from a neutral relay. Lyra read it aloud. "Message from Scifi Royal Council. Received. Discussion in progress. Await next instructions." Tom's eyes widened. They didn't reject it. Lyra smiled, a little surprised. "They're actually talking about it." Hannah crossed her arms thoughtfully. "That's more than we hoped." For it was the first small sign of change. Later that evening, as the stars turned slowly outside the windows, Tom and Lyra sat together on the floor of the small ship. He passed her a small packet of Earth snacks. "These are dry fruit cubes, old Earth food. My mom used to keep them during space travel." Lyra took one, tasted it, and smiled. "Sweet and a little strange, just like humans," Tom said with a grin. Lyra laughed softly. There was a peaceful silence between them. "I used to dream of escaping the palace," she said. "But I never thought I'd end up here in a hidden zone, beside a human, waiting for a message from my own people." Tom looked at her kindly. "Sometimes we find the right place in the wrong way." She nodded. "Maybe this is the first time I feel like myself." The next day brought another surprise. A new ship appeared on the radar. It wasn't Scifi. It wasn't Earth. It was a neutral envoy vessel, marked with the symbol of the Interplanetary Voice Council, a small group that helped keep peace between smaller worlds. The ship hailed them. "This is Vessel Starlight 1. We are here to observe and offer support." Hannah Lynn opened communication. "You're early. We received a request from a Scifi elder," the envoy replied. She asked for independent eyes. She believes this moment could lead to something historic. Lyra's eyes widened. "An elder? That means someone in the council supports U.S., the envoy continued. "We are authorized to assist in building a temporary meeting point outside of Scifi and Earth control. Do you accept?" Tom looked at Lyra. She gave a small, sure nod. Double quotes, "Yes," Tom said. "Let's build something." They began at once, using old satellite parts, extra material from Starlight 1 and Earth's envoy ship. They started creating a small floating station, just a basic frame, with power, air, and a round meeting room. Tom helped build the support arms. Lyra designed the shape of a meeting table round, with no leader seat. Hannah set up the communication system. Within a few days, the small station floated quietly in the Veil Rift, ready to receive guests from both Earth and SC or AI. It was not large. It was not fancy. But it was the first of its kind, a place not owned by either world, a place built by those who believed in something better. The first to arrive were the Scifi Council assistants. They came without guards and without titles, just simple robes and open minds. Then came an Earth science officer, then another diplomat, a translator, a writer. No one wore medals. No one gave speeches. They sat at the round table and talked about culture, about fear, about old mistakes and future dreams. And above them, through the station window, drifted the stars of the Veil Rift, watching quietly, like they had always done. One evening, Lyra stood at the window alone. Tom walked over and joined her. "You okay?" he asked. "I didn't think it would really happen," she said. "I thought we would be chased forever. I didn't expect people to come, to listen." Tom smiled. "Sometimes the quietest ideas grow into the biggest ones." She turned to him. "Thank you, Tom, for listening to me, for not walking away." He nodded. "You gave me a reason to believe in something more." They stood in silence for a while, watching the peaceful drift of space. No orders, no fear. Just hope. And far away, back on the Scifi homeworld, the Empress stood before her council. A message from the Veil Rift played on the wall screen, a roundtable of Scifi and human voices. Calm and equal, she watched quietly. Then she said, "Maybe it is time to listen, not with power, but with peace." And in that moment, everything began to shift. The station in the Veil Rift had no name. Not yet. But everyone who arrived knew it was different. There were no flags, no guards, no golden chairs or banners. Just one round table in the middle of a quiet room and windows that looked out at the drifting stars. In the days that followed, more people came. Not in large numbers, not with parades, just a few. Here and there, engineers, teachers, translators, thinkers, people who wanted to understand. Not control. Tom worked during the day, fixing lights and power panels. At night, he helped cook small meals in the shared kitchen. He liked how simple it all was. No ranks, no orders, no long speeches. Lyra was always busy, talking with visitors, guiding talks, and helping explain Scifi culture. But in the quiet hours, she returned to the old ship where she and Tom had first arrived. They would sit together and watch the stars in silence, sometimes speaking, sometimes not. The peace they had built felt fragile, like glass, but it was real. And growing stronger. One morning, a special message came through. It was from the Scifi Empress. The council had held a full meeting. Voices had been raised. Some were angry, others were curious. But in the end, one thing was clear. Something new had begun, and it could not be stopped. The Empress's message was short. "You left without permission, but you return with possibility. We will not punish this beginning. We will observe it, build it, and if it proves true, we will join it." Lyra read the message aloud to everyone. There was silence afterward, then a quiet cheer, then applause. Tom looked around the room and smiled. "They're starting to believe." Lyra's eyes were filled with tears, not of sadness, but of quiet relief. "They didn't shut the door," she whispered. Tom nodded. "They left it open." That same week, Earth's main diplomatic board sent their reply. The station at Veil Rift is recognized as a place of peaceful progress. It will not be claimed. It will not be armed. It will belong to no one. And it will be open to all. More ships arrived, some from small planets, others from unknown places. A team of translators helped create a system where every species could speak and be heard. A library began to grow, filled with stories from different worlds. The station slowly turned into something more than just a meeting point. It became a symbol. One evening, Lyra called everyone together in the main room. The windows glowed with the soft light of a passing energy wave. The round table was polished. Everyone stood in a circle. "It's time we give this place a name," Lyra said. Many people gave suggestions. Starbridge, New Unity, First Light. Tom raised his hand and said, "What about just Horizon?" People looked at him. He explained, "Horizon is the line where the sky meets the ground. It's not a wall. It's not an end. It's the place where the next part begins." Lyra smiled slowly. "Horizon." Everyone nodded. And so, the name was chosen. Station Horizon became a living story. There were still disagreements. There were still moments of doubt. But each time, someone would remind the room, "We are here because the people ran not to escape, but to speak." Let us not forget that. Tom became the station's maintenance chief, though he refused the title. He just liked fixing things. Lyra became the unofficial guide, the heart of Horizon. Even when the Scifi government offered to take her home with honor, she stayed. She said, "I have already found where I belong." One quiet night, Tom and Lyra stood at the same window they had stood before. The stars were just as calm. The rift, just as mysterious. Lyra held a small cup of warm tea. Do you think they'll keep coming? She asked. Tom nodded. Yes, because now they know this place is real. And it works. Lyra smiled. Do you ever miss the old station? The noise, the rules? Tom laughed softly. Not at all. She looked at him. Me neither. There was a long silence, peaceful and full. Then Tom asked, do you think we'll ever stop being the human and the alien princess who ran away? Lyra laughed. Maybe, or maybe that story will always remind people why Horizon exists. I'm okay with that, Tom said. Lyra looked at him. Me too. Months passed. A child from the moon colony of Orin played chess with a young Sarai, student in the station's library. An artist from Earth painted a mural on the main hallway wall showing two hands reaching toward a single star. A scientist from a desert planet discovered a rare mineral floating near the station and shared it freely with all. Small moments, big meaning. That was Horizon. One day, a new ship docked at the station. An older Sarai woman stepped out, her clothes simple, but her face wise. Lyra ran to greet her with a smile. Mother, she said. The Empress of Sarai embraced her daughter. Tom watched from a distance, then slowly stepped forward. The Empress looked at him and gave a small respectful nod. Thank you, she said, for helping her find her own way. Tom nodded. She helped me find mine too. They stood there, not as rulers or citizens, but as people. Just people. That night, Horizon held its first festival. No fireworks, no parades, just stories, music, and soft lights drifting in the hallways. The food was shared. The laughter was quiet but real. Lyra sat beside Tom under a dome of glass, watching the stars. This started because I grabbed your hand, she said. Tom looked at her, and I didn't let go. They smiled, and above them, the stars of the Veil Rift watched quietly, just as they always had, shining down on a station, built not by power, but by hope. The end.